acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. In case you didn't know, today is our annual meeting. It is the day when we in the Episcopal Church do our best impression of Congregationalists, and among other things, elect a new class of vestry members, hear year-end reports, and most importantly, eat. Now, these meetings can be a little bit, but you can be assured that they meet our expectations. Now, there's a trend on social media in various Episcopal and Anglican groups to joke about annual meetings and how boring they can be, or how they become an opportunity to rope people into committees and roles. One that sticks out in my mind is from Pirates of the Caribbean. You see Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow running across the beach, being chased by several hundred angry islanders. And the caption over it reads, "Serve on vestry," they said. "It'll be fun," they said. Now, just on Wednesday, Mary and I were talking about how that hasn't been her experience at all. And in my time around vestries, which is now in the range of a decade, upheaval is the exception rather than the rule. Similarly, I cannot think of a single instance of an annual meeting being that contentious. Tedious maybe, encouraging often, overlong sometimes, but always within expectations. And this is important because people do not like the unexpected. We just don't deal with it well. We can handle bad news, tough situations, and even tragedies when we expect them. It is the surprise factor that makes us unsettled. Now, I want to reassure you that I'm not trying to prep you for bad news in today's meeting, just to underscore the power of expectations. And so you know what to expect right now, I'm going to use my sermon as a bit of a state of the parish talk, so that I can save us time by not needing to provide a report at the end of the meeting. Now, if we take time to think about times or things that make us anxious, I'd be willing to bet that they could be traced to a fear of the unexpected. Starting a new job, moving to a new city, or delivering news to someone. They can all be stressful because we don't really know what to expect. Now, a similar thing happens when we go to a new church. Whether we're on vacation and attending a different Episcopal church, I can't be the only one who goes to church on vacation, right? No? But even more so when you visit a church from another tradition. What should you wear? Should you be there early? What will the music be like? Is there coffee hour? Will communion be wafers and wine or white bread and grape juice? Am I in for a 45-minute lecture from the pulpit or a 5-minute throwaway motivational speech? The further we get away from what we are used to, the less sure we are of the expectations, and the more likely we are to not even bother going. Meeting expectations or changing them as little as possible was one of my main concerns when I first came here. I didn't want to come and turn Sunday services upside down, so I had to know and understand what was expected at St. Paul's. Now, even where I do make changes, at least I know to let you know to expect a change or to explain a change. Doing things blindly can really lead a person down blind or dead ends. So I think you can expect more changes to things. In some cases, changes to things that are new, like weekly lunches and visits from your priest, or midweek contemporary Eucharist accompanied by my guitar. And in some cases, changes to things that are old and have gone away, like weekly Sunday school and committees for our various programs. You can expect me to have ideas and initiatives for the coming year, and expect me to be open to listening to comments and opinions on both new and old ways. But there's another side to this coin, and that is what I expect from you, and what you should expect from one another. I expect each of you to continue to care for St. Paul's, both the parish and the people. I expect you to be honest and forthright with your opinions and ideas, and be open to those of others. I expect you to be involved with the parish, in whatever manner that means for you. And this is something we can discuss when we go to lunch or I drop by from a visit. I am unavoidable. It's not a threat, it's a promise. I expect grace and mercy for those working to bring things back or to create new things here. I expect you to keep the words of St. Paul held tight to your hearts. Consider your own call, brothers and sisters. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were powerful. Not many of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, things that are not, to reduce to nothing things that are, so that no one might boast in the presence of God. I expect that in a year's time, when preparing for our next annual meeting, that we will have succeeded in many of our efforts, failed in a few, and learned from them all. And lastly, I expect that we will each, individually and as a congregation, embrace the expectations that God has for us. As the prophet Micah said, O mortal, what is good? And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? God's expectations, his requirements, are not a competition or an evaluation of who pledges more, who spends more time here, or who holds the most committee memberships. They are about living the Christian life, which does call for giving gifts of your time and treasure to the church and to others, but it's not something to be measured against one another. God doesn't expect burnt offerings of year-old calves, thousands of rams, or 10,000 rivers of oil. Do justice. Love mercy. Walk humbly with God. That is what God expects. And I hope that you will hold yourself to that expectation. And I hope that you will hold me to that expectation. And I hope that you will hold each other to that expectation. If we do that, then the foolish will shame the wise, the weak will shame the strong, and St. Paul's will be both a beacon and a harbor for everyone that needs it. To God be all the glory forever and ever.